Hey everybody, yep, I'm alive, rest assured, lol. Just here doing a quick video, another custom showcase. But this time of a figure that's incomplete and I couldn't even find the weapon accessory that I do have of him. Yep, this is a customized copy of Transformers Prime, Robots in Disguise Knockout. As you can see, he turns into a red sports car that kind of looks like an Aston Martin 177, I believe. Well, but at least it looks kind of like an Aston Martin of some kind. Maybe not a specific model, but it does seem to kind of resemble a 177 the most, or whatever. But yeah, the main reason why I'm making this video now is because today we got reveals of the upcoming Legacy Knockout figure. And, yeah, surprise, surprise, I think it actually looks like complete total dog shit. Because the big problem, they redesigned him to look more G1. Because, hey, we don't have enough boring, crowd-pleasing G1 in Transformers, apparently, today. Oh, wait, correction. We have far too much boring and crowd-pleasing G1. Seriously, we were already pretty damn sick of it, as I dust him a little. Pretty damn sick. We were already pretty sick with G1 being done over again at the start of the War for Cybertron trilogy with the Siege line in 2019. So and we continued to get, and that frustration kept growing steadily throughout the 2020 Earthrise line, and then it seems like we were finally going to get a little bit different with the 2021's Kingdom toy line. Because although it was still 50% boring, crowd-pleasing G1, and it was at least 50% Beast Wars as well. No. We're going back full force with boring, crowd-pleasing G1 to the point where non-G1 character designs and toy designs have to be redesigned to look more G1. And it looks disgusting. Like that new Legacy version of RC from Transformers Prime, disgusting. Barely looks like her. That new Legacy version of Bulkhead from Transformers Prime doesn't look like him at all. It actually looks close. It actually looks a little closer to animated Bulkhead. Same problem with Knockout, which is why I'm perfectly happy with the original figure. So let me put it this way. I'm actually genuinely scared about what's going to happen with the Legacy from here on out. Because although this set of reveals is actually a tiny bit better compared to what we initially got, I'm still not having high hopes. I'm actually genuinely terrified. Let me put it this way. If you're the kind of Transformers fan who's sick of modernized G1, tragically this is the line that may have a very good chance of getting you out of the hobby altogether. So yeah, yeah, basically, let's just talk about the custom painting that I did on this guy. It is a little bit worn off in places, but you can tell that I basically decided to paint over the dull maroon paint here that was basically applied throughout the entire top strip of the car. So most of the hood or bonnet, well, most of the nose really, and the roof, they were painted in the same burgundy or maroon. But I decided to touch it up with a proper shade of red that's still a bit darker compared to the actual red plastic that we have on the figure. And a little bit of black for the rear window, and a little bit of extra paint on the back, silver in the license plate, yellow turn signals. It's not much, but it's something. Plus, I did my best with yellow paint on the rims, but it may look a little dull. May have to pop his wheels off again and give him a bit of clear coat after touching them up a bit with a little yellow. Plus, it was a bit of a bitch, but also yellow outlining around some of the vent detailing on the car. That's all I really have for the vehicle mode. Let me just quickly get the busted up Bumblebee that I use as my standard alt mode size comparison figure. And here he is next to the Bee. Yeah, even by the standards of the Prime RiD toy line, a Knockout is pretty damn tiny for a deluxe. But yeah, that's kind of just how it went back then. Let's see. Okay, here's the bot mode Bumblebee, just standing by for robot mode size comparison. Right, transformation. So we're going to start by pushing the doors in to have them unhooked from the rear of the car. Then you can basically pull it back like this along the robot mode hip and knee joints. Then we can split it, rotate the bumper halves around like this, and then on the bottom here, untap the feet and fold them down. They're on a curved stem with a ball joint at the top and a hinge at the bottom. So yeah, there are his legs, which look suspiciously bland, but rest assured most of the good stuff is reserved for his robot mode. Just gonna make this a bit quick. This isn't necessarily a review, but more so just a custom showcase on the paint detailing that I did to my figure. But yeah, now we come to the arms, which are a bit tricky, but yeah, you fold down the doors first like this, as if they were like inverted gull wings or whatever, lol. And then you fold them down on this hinge here. Next, we rotate the arms back up, now on the ball joints for the shoulders. And I guess we can already start rotating them around on these transformation swivels so that the front wheels of the car are folded around like this, so they're ready to end up on his backpack. Let's see. Next, fold down the waist panel up from underneath the grill, fold the grill forward, separate the nose of the car into a few pieces. And the trick is you want to have this whole unit folded down and then take the center piece like this and fold that up so the robot mode head can actually get into position. Now for a little bit of a tricky maneuver, you have to take these fender pieces with the headlights of the car and hook them around, like hook them onto the center bit of the nose. Which is sadly a little bit easier said than done. But maybe if I just tuck this panel back, there we go. Yeah, now we got the clearance to do so. Boom. That's looking good. Fold the side pieces of the grill onto his sides so they can fill in his abdomen. Then now it's just a case of getting his arms formed. Flip out the hand from underneath the windshield, close up the door, and then fold the roof piece in like that. And while you're at it, maybe flip up the shoulder pads. And there is the Knockout that we know and love, or when it comes to this toy, kinda like or tolerate. I mean, the thing is with Knockout, his cartoon model is it's one of those Transformers designs that, unfortunately, it doesn't work that well. Like, it can't be translated that well into a completely faithful and decently sized action figure that's both accurate and posable in both. That's both accurate in both modes and posable in the robot mode. It's sadly not really possible. So here he is with Bumblebee. So you may have noticed that, yeah, this figure isn't necessarily the best quality, as he's a little shorter than Bumblebee, I think. But you know who will probably outsize him a bit? None other than the other certain red car man from Transformers Prime, Cliff Jumper. Yes, this is my first edition Cliff Jumper, which got a 3D printed head because the original one had sadly broken. But yeah, Cliff Jumper's definitely a bit bigger. But in robot mode, the changes are not as drastic. All he really got are some red. All he really got is some red spray paint and then a little bit of black modeler's paint on his shoulders, on his shoulder pads. That's it. Nothing on the legs. But yeah, he has a weapon port in back. So if you had both pieces of his spear, you could actually plug it onto his back. I do have the top part, but I don't know where it is right now. Maybe in some way the Legacy figure is a tiny bit superior due to longevity in the arms, because due to the fact that the forearms are largely made of translucent plastic, there is fear that they can break. Because you may have noticed, hey, he has ball-jointed wrists, so the hands can rotate around, and the socket is in the bottom of the windshield, which is translucent. But honestly, at this point, I think that a re-release with opaque pieces would have been better. Because honestly, I'll take this over that G105 Legacy figure. It's just a retooling of War for Cybertron Earthrise Jazz, who I intentionally mislabeled because another problem in modern day Transformers, I don't like the idea of the SS86 subline in the Studio Series toy line. It should be Movieverse designs only for Studio Series. Keep your goddamn G1 designs in other toy lines, please. But yeah, Knockout is looking fairly good, actually. No score for this guy, or at least in this review, but, you know, the detailing is nice on his head. Definitely looking much more accurate to the snobbish and presumed homosexual doctor of the Decepticons. Yes, it's heavily implied that he's actually gay. So, yeah. Articulation, ball joint in the head. Look, the motion is a little bit limited, but he can rotate. Though not very well, unfortunately, because of the color detailing, but yeah. Sorry. Jeez, I gotta sneeze. Sorry. But yeah, also, ball joints in the shoulders, which work fairly well. Like, he doesn't have a full 90-degree outward move, so he can't quite do the T-posing, but, you know, it's good enough. The shoulder pads are also on little clip-on hinges, so they can get out of the way, but the ball joints still work, so forwards and backwards motion is alright, outwards motion is okay, bicep swivel, which you can use, 90-degree hinge at the elbow if you have the forearms positioned properly. Please be careful with the ball jointed wrists, and when transforming him into car mode, please, for the love of God, have the top of the hand be visible through the windshield. That's how they're supposed to go. Otherwise, the vehicle mode won't mesh together and you may risk breaking something. You may have already noticed that I broke this little tab off in the roof, but there's still two other tabs on the other arm that still hold the roof together just fine. Oh, forgot to flip out the hand again. There we go. No waist swivel, which is the only major detriment, I'd say. But whatever. Ball joints in the hips. Though because of the skirt armor, because of his pelvis armor, a little bit limited. But, you know, still got a theoretically good range of motion. Forwards, backwards, outwards, thigh swivel right below the hip joint, and a very good single joint knee because of transformation. And if your joints are stiff enough, I suppose you can also make use of the ball joints and the hinges in his feet. So overall, the doctor in the house is actually pretty good. I think that I may have to give him a second coating of paint in places. But, yeah. Just thought I'd share this little video. Thought it would be a pretty good time to show this guy now. Because, well, honestly, I think this mold is still better. Even in stock condition with the terrible paint applications, I'd say this is better compared to the G105 crap that Legacy just poured out. Yeah, let me put it this way. There's a lot of stuff in modern day Transformers that I can't stand. And the biggest problem for now really is the Legacy toy line, with how far it's going into the wrong direction of doing more G1 to the point where non-G1 character designs have to be redesigned to look more G1. They already failed spectacularly with RC, Bulkhead, and Knockout from Transformers Prime. I'm genuinely terrified as to how that rumored Voyager-class Armada Starscream is going to come out. Like, I'm genuinely scared. And this is coming from the guy who actually wants one Legacy figure, and ironically, it's G1 Stunticon drag strip. But not as a Transformers fan. I have absolutely no intention of completing the Legacy Stunticons. I only want drag strip because, hey, you may tell by this cap, I'm also starting to become a low gear Formula 1 fan. Hold on. yeah, as I was saying, ironically, there's one Legacy figure that I do want, and somewhat hypocritically, admittedly, it's Dragstrip. Yes, one of the G1 Stunticons. But not because I'm a Transformers fan or because I have interest in completing the Legacy Stunticons and making that new slavishly cartoon-accurate version of Menasor, which I'm actually against, by the way. If I want a Menasor figure, I would much rather go with Combiner Wars, because it feels like a proper combiner. The main reason why I want Dragstrip is because I'm starting to become a bit of a Formula 1 fan, as you might have guessed by the cap. But yeah, that's all. See ya.